Hey everyone, how's it going? It's a new year, so I want to sit down and make myself some reading goals for 2020. So I made myself a cup of tea with my Golden Girls mug, and I thought I would try to work out some rough reading goals to follow because I've never been all that into resolutions or making these hard rules that you have to follow throughout the year. But I think it is good to set yourself some goals to kind of work towards, and I especially don't think it's important to set yourself a certain number of books to read over the course of the year. Because I mean, one of the silly things I think about that is that the length of books varies so much. So like it would have been silly of me last year to not read Ducks Newburyport, which is 1,000 pages long, in favor of just like reading some very short novellas just to sort of hit that target number. I think that would be a bit silly. I mean, I read about 100 books a year, and I think that's a fine amount. I haven't counted exactly how many I read last year, but I think that's about fine. What I'm more interested in reading is varying what I read a bit more, because I just tend to gravitate towards reading novels all the time, and I think that's fine. I think you should just follow what you're most interested in reading, but I would like to vary the format a bit more. So I would like to read some more poetry and some more books of short stories. So I am going to set myself the goal of trying to read one of each month. So a book of poetry and a book of short stories. And I would also like to read some nonfiction some more, though maybe not every month. I won't aim to read that, but just to mix some in with that, and also to read more classic books. Like I just made a video recently about 20 classics to read in 2020. So I would like to try to read a classic book at least every month, and I'm already reading The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, Anne Bronte's novel, and I'm really enjoying that. So I want to read some more of that. Although that sounds like packing in a lot every month to read, but I think I can manage it. I think it'll be good. Another thing I want to do is read some more of the Backlist books of some recent favorite authors. So when I talked about my favorite books of last year, it included Annie Ernaux's novel The Years, and I definitely want to read more by this author, and I keep saying I want to read more by her. So I think this will be a good prompt to go back and read some of her previous novels, because she's a writer of advanced age, and she's written quite a few books. I'll be reading some more by her, but also by Bernardine Evaristo and Lucy Ellman and Colson Whitehead. I also read Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad, but he's written a number of books, so there's a bunch of those that I want to go back and read and explore as well. Then another big reading goal of mine is more a sort of like limitation that I want to set on myself, because I get so into book prizes and reading lists for book prizes, but I want to be less rigid about trying to force myself to read all of the lists of a book prize when it comes out, like the Women's Prize or the Booker Prize. I mean, I get really excited and want to join in, but I almost feel like because I have this reputation of being a book prize person, that like I have to read all of the lists of a prize. And so in the past, even when a book hasn't really appealed to me, I've read it, and sometimes I'll be surprised and be like, oh, I actually really enjoyed that book. But more often, I find that actually I didn't really like that book, and now I've spent all this time reading a book which I didn't enjoy all that much, over some other books which I've been more drawn to and been wanting to read, which is kind of silly. Like, I mean, I kind of pushed myself through Salman Rushdie's most recent novel when I really wasn't enjoying it, and by the end I still wasn't enjoying it. And so I sort of wish I had just like put it aside and read some other books that I was really excited to read and which I just didn't get time for because yeah, it's reading takes up a lot of time, and so it is good to sort of read the stuff that you're most interested in first. And along those same lines, another goal I want to set myself is more like limiting myself because since I do a book blog as well as doing book videos like this, I find I get so wrapped up in responding to and writing about what I've been reading that sometimes it'll limit what I actually read. So, you know, I read roughly 100 books last year, and I think out of all of those, there was maybe only 5 or 6 of them which I didn't actually write a blog post on. And I felt a bit stressed at the end of the year. It's like, oh, I still have to write about these books which I didn't get around to, but why should that? That's all completely self-imposed. I mean, I just do this for fun and for my own sort of record of what I've read and just to try to engage with other people who've read these books so that we can have a discussion about them. That's really the main reason I do all of this. But I've been finding sometimes recently where a few days will go by where all those days I'll be wanting to read something and I'll be like, no, I can't because I need to write this blog post, or I need to think about this video that I want to film, or I need to edit this video, and it's like it's taking up so much time. So yeah, I want to be a bit more loose about what I actually write about. Like if I feel inclined and have the time to write about a book, I'll write a blog post about it. But I don't want to feel obligated to do it or put that sort of obligation on myself. And I know this is a really silly thing to like stress about and worry about. There's a lot of other big problems in the world, but you know, I'm just talking about like personal reading geeky sort of goals that I want to make for myself. So not getting so caught up in responding to everything that I've read is one of them. But also, yeah, not getting so caught up in the stats and the analytics of YouTube, because as I've been making more YouTube videos, YouTube will naturally like want you to look at its analytics and look at how your videos have been doing, and it's, you know, natural that YouTube wants to do this because they want a more captive audience so they can serve more ads and things like that. But and it starts to make you think as an individual that you need to run your YouTube channel like a business. But I'm not a business. I'm not doing this for money. I'm just doing this for fun and to have good conversations with other readers. But it's every time you go into YouTube, it encourages you to look at the stats and to look at the numbers and how many views have you had and how is this video performing in relation to your other videos. And that can get really stressful because sometimes more recent videos I can just see a like down red arrow saying oh, there's less views, there's less engagement, and it just makes me feel bad about myself. So I wanna focus on that less, and because it's not that like helpful or interesting, it just sort of stresses me out. So I'd rather just like focus on the comments, you know, the good comments, not the nasty comments that sometimes people will leave me, you know, just the ones that really want to engage with me with the books that I've been reading, or suggesting books that people think I would enjoy and should read. And so yeah, I want to respond more to those comments rather than looking at and thinking about all the stats of the YouTube world. So those are my rough goals. I don't have anything that ambitious that I want to do. It's I think generally I just want to do more of the same and read what I'm interested in. But I do want to try to have these goals in mind as I'm reading throughout the year of things I want to achieve and do a bit more, because I think it'll just make me generally a happier reader and a more fulfilled reader if I'm doing some of these things. So let me know if you have any reading goals, or if you have any ideas or thoughts or reactions to the goals that I've made for myself. But hope you have a very happy reading year, and let's chat about books a lot more. So I'll speak to you again soon, and bye everyone.